For the woman over there who is looking, didn't know what's going on, I don't have signs to show it off. There's a thing that is called community poetry here at Half Price Books from 1 to 3, and right now I think it's cloudy enough and people are scared of it, but so I'm just sitting here reading poetry. If anybody wanted to hear anything, anybody's welcome to come up and do features or rest, just so you understood the chaos, because I ran so late I didn't even have signs to be able to put up.
No, that's okay. I knew that you were probably up to something awesome, so I was just trying to be
up to something awesome. That's really nice to hear. Well, anyway, just getting you ahead of it, but thank you. No problem. But that's the thing, I've got to be showing off all of these books. Because Scars Publications releases issues like CC&D and Down the Dirt magazine, they also release issue collection books. And there's a collection book of September through December 2018 issues and chapbooks from Down the Dirt. And this collection anthology is called Ornament. All the titles come from something that is accepted within it. And when I saw Ornament, I said, well, it's Christmas time, better, photograph the tree and make it look as pretty as I possibly can. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. I was sick. Me and my husband got each other sick, and we were just miserable the whole time. It was fun. It was good times, really. So I could just look forward to the next one. My sister sent me a Christmas, a nutcracker that was labeled 2018. I'm like, hey, something good came out of that Christmas, because we were sick the whole time. But I wanted to be able to read things from 2 different shows that are in the backs of 2 different issues that appear in this book, Ornament, which, as I mentioned before, is available for sale at Amazon throughout the United States, the UK, Europe, Japan. I think you can even get it in Australia, which there are contributors from these places, so it's great that I can be able to get them out to people since I run Scars. Because I used to do a magazine and they just send out little staple-bound things, and this is nice that globally it's become so much easier to be able to pull off having a nice-looking cover and a nice-looking book in a larger volume that people can enjoy. So, and I hope you like some of these. This first set of poems is a couple of poems from poetry shows called Live at Café Aloha that was in Chicago in 1997. So this is dating it for you, so you know how old these are. This first one is a long piece called Communication. Now that we see we have the information superhighway, we can throw out into the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. Our pleas become computer blips, tiny bits of energy traveling through razor-thin wires, traveling through space, to be left for someone to decipher when they find the time. I got into work the other day and got a message in my voicemail. Mike told me, he gave me his pager number. That dates it. And he told me to contact him with some more information. Another Mike then told me to call him in his office between 10:30 and noon. Lori told me to check my email because she sent me a message I just had to read. So I first returned Mike's phone call, but he wasn't there, so I left a message with a coworker. And then I dialed the number for Mike's pager, listened to the beep, then dialed in my own phone number. And then I got online and checked my email, read a note from Ben, emptied out my junk mail. Realizing I didn't actually get a hold of anybody, I tried to call my friend Sherry, but I got her answering machine. So I said, hi, it's me, Janet. I haven't talked to you in a while. At which point I realized there was nothing left to say. So, give me a call. We should really get together and talk. Sarah and I were late for Carol's wedding rehearsal, which was a bad thing since we were both standing up at the wedding, and we were stuck in traffic, and I said, Sarah, you have a cell phone, don't you? And she said, yes. And I asked, well, do you know Carol's cell phone number? Because if you can, we can call her and tell her we'll be late. And she said, no. Do you know it? And I said, no. I was at a bar with Dave, and I was explaining to him how I hadn't talked to my friend Erin in a while. You see, we usually email each other, and when we do, we just hit reply. And when you get an email from somebody, instead of having to start a new letter, you get the email address. You can just hit reply button on that email message, and it'll make a letter addressed to that person who wrote you the letter originally. So one of us sent us the other a letter, and they had a question at the end. So I hit reply and sent a message with another question at the end of my letter. And we just kept having to answer questions for each other, and we just kept replying to each other over and over, sending a letter with the same title back and forth. Well, once I got an email from him, and there was no question at the end, so I didn't have to send him a response. So I didn't. And we never thought of starting a new email to each other. So we just lost touch. And then it occurred to me how difficult it had become to type an extra line of text, because that's why I lost touch with him. And then it occurred to me, no matter how many different forms of communication we have, we'll still find a way to lose touch with each other. Now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out into the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. But what if we don't want to communicate, or forget how? Too busy leaving messages, voicemails, emails, pager numbers, forgetting to call back. What if we forget how to communicate? I wanted to purchase tickets for a concert, but I was shopping with my sister, and I was nowhere near a ticket outlet. But my sister said, I've got a portable phone. You could call them if you'd like. And so she gave me this phone, and I looked at all these extra buttons, and she said, just press the power button, but hold it down for at least 4 seconds until the panel lights up. And then dial the number. Make sure to use the area code, though, because we're in a 630 area code, and then press send. And when you're done with the call, just press end and make sure the lights turn off. So I turned it on, dialed the number, pressed send, pressed my head against the tiny phone, and the line was busy, and I couldn't get through. I wanted to get in touch with an old friend of mine from high school, Vince, but the last I'd heard, he went to Marquette University. Well, that was 5 years ago. That was 5 years ago. He could be anywhere. I talked to a friend or two that knew him, but they lost touch with him too. So I searched on the internet to see if his name was on a website or if he had an email address. He didn't. So I figured I probably wouldn't find him. And all this time, I knew his parents lived in the same house they always did. I could just look up his parents' phone number in the phone book and call them up and say, hi, I'm an old high school friend of Vince's. But I never did. And then I realized why. You see, I could search the internet for hours and no one would know that I was looking for someone. But now, with one single phone call, I'd make it known to his entire family that I wanted to see him enough to call after all these years. And I didn't want him to know that, so I never called. Now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out into the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. But the question begs itself, who is there to listen? Oh yeah, and that was like in '97, so I have actually talked to him on Facebook. Yeah, so yay. Thank you, Zuckerberg, for making our lives easier. This one is also from that same show, and it is called And What I Want to Know. I've been dreaming of you lately. Usually, in my dreams, I see you for just a short while, and then you have to leave. Maybe you tell me you miss me. Maybe you kiss me. Last night, when you left me once again, I drove after you to the airport so that I could say goodbye to you one more time. In my dreams, you're always with me. In my dreams, you're always leaving me. In my dreams, I run after you, just so I could say goodbye again. And what I want to know is, when are these dreams going to stop? And what I want to know is, are you dreaming of me too? I daydream about you in the mornings while my legs are still tangled in my sheets. I close my eyes so I can feel you there, curl up against me. why do I have to get out of this bed? And what I want to know is, if you saw me hit by a car, my lifeless body lying in the street, would you hold me up against you? Would you hold my limp arms in your coarse hands? Would you rock me to sleep? Would you cry? Would you not want to say goodbye? And what I want to know is, if you saw me, that car speeding toward me, would you instantly run to me? Because life is no longer life without the one you love. I know what I would say. I know my answer. And what I want to know is if I will live like this forever. And what I want to know is if I'm going to suffer this alone. And what I want to know is, are you dreaming of me too? Okay, one more and a happier note for the end of this show. This one's called And I'm Wondering. And I'm wondering if there's something chemical that brings people together, something that brings people to their knees, something that sucks them in. And I'm wondering if you're sensing what I'm sensing. Is it me? Am I just making this all up in my head? Or when I glance up and catch your eyes, well, are you actually looking at me? And I'm wondering if it could work out for us this time, if we'd have one of those relationships that no one ever doubts, especially us, because we know we'll always be in love. And I'm wondering if you would find my neurotic pet peeves charming, like how I hate it whenever someone touches my belly because I'm so self-conscious. And I'm wondering why I had to take, when you happen to tell me, when we happen to be sitting next to each other, that the fact that our legs were almost touching was making your heart race. And I'm wondering why I had to take your cigarette and inhale, exhale, while the filter was still warm from your lips, there, just seconds before. And I'm wondering if a year or two from now, after we've been going out and should have gotten to a point where we're stuck in a comfortable rut and we're bored with each other, and if you saw me making macaroni and cheese in the kitchen using margarine and water because I am out of milk and I've got my hair pulled back and strands are falling around my eyes and I'm wearing an oversized button-down denim shirt and nothing else, well, then what I'm wondering is if you would see me like this and still think I was sexy. When I glance up and I catch your eyes from across the room, when I see your eyes dart away, when I feel this chemical reaction, well, what I'm wondering is, do you feel it too? Okay, yeah, I'll do the other one too. Earlier I mentioned the Seeing Things Differently show from the recent issue of Down in the Dirt because it's apparently coming in installments. These are some of the early pieces from the show Seeing Things Differently. That was also in Chicago in '97. We're going on a trend here with Chicago shows in '97 being re-performed. This is a short one called Things Warren Says. I know about this guy. He sucked his eyeball out with a shop vac. He went to the hospital, brought the shop vac with him. He was okay, but they couldn't put his eye back in. It was all mangled. And besides, it was covered in potato chips. This one is called Japanese Television. As reported in the New York Times, one new television show in Japan boasts young women in bikinis who attempt to smash aluminum cans in between their breasts. Another television show in Japan brings a young boy on stage to tell him his mother has been shot and killed, to see how long it takes for the boy to cry. And I wonder what they think of Roseanne, married with children. All of this one from the news ones. This one's called Kurt Irons. It's just a girl. Kurt Irons was arrested and charged with vehicular homicide. Kurt Irons, while intoxicated, stole a truck and drove it straight into another truck and killed a 37-year-old woman. According to police reports, Kurt Irons was surprised by the arrest, by the fact that he was charged with vehicular homicide. Kurt Irons was quoted as saying, "Dudes, it's just a girl, man. It's a girl. Nothing but a girl." That's a true story. I saw that in the news. It's like nothing but a girl. Like, why am I being charged? Really, it's just a girl. Really? I love that. Alright, so here's the newest one for it. This is bizarre sexual stories in the news. Another news story, happiness. From the Los Angeles Times, 2 gay men during sexual activity decide to push a live hamster into the anal cavity of one of the men. However, after they realized they couldn't get the hamster out, they tried to figure out what to do. Well, the man without the hamster inside him decided to light a match to see if he could see where the hamster was. So, man without hamster is perched underneath man with hamster and lights a match right under man with hamster's anus. At which time, man with hamster passes wind, and it causes a small streak of fire to jump around and singe the man without hamster's eyes, brows, and facial hair. However, because there was gas in the anal cavity, the fireball then shot into the man with hamster, circled around the hamster, burning the inside of the man with hamster. And furthermore, the gas change and pressure shot the hamster out of the man with hamster's anus and into the man without hamster's face, breaking his nose. I will end the show. Happens to have 2 Christmas-themed poems, and which seemed good because it was an end-of-the-year book release. This is Christmas Eve. We made dinner, fettuccine Alfredo with chicken and duck, vegetables, bread. We ate. We couldn't finish everything. We were putting on our coats, getting ready to go to midnight mass. I decided to pack up our leftovers, give them to some homeless people out on the main street. We got in the car and drove to Broadway and Berwyn. I got out of the car, walked over to a man there, asked him if he was hungry. I got the bowl of noodles and the gallon of milk out of the car. Another man walked over to me. I told them the promise that they would share. I got in the car. We were just driving. And all I could think was these 2 men were in the cold, eating pasta with their fingers on Christmas Eve. This one is a longer one called Coquinas. I can't imagine the number of times I've been there, visiting Florida, visiting for Christmas with my parents on a plastic tree decorated with sand dollars and red ribbons, eating Christmas dinner, listening to Johnny Mathis. And after the Irish coffee, father with his brandy sister in hand, mother and the other girls putting away the dishes. The carolers would come, walking in front of our home, singing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," over and over again. We would walk outside, and the cool breeze almost felt like Christmas. It almost felt like Christmas after the hot, humid days. and we would stand out on our driveway, smile and nod. You could see down the road all the candles in paper bags lining the street. And for a few lights, the bag burned. And then we would take boat rides off the coast, my parents and their friends, to a tiny island. Dad drinking beer, sometimes steering the boat control. The women sitting together in the shade, worrying about their hair. I would sit in the front, sunglasses, swimsuit, and sunburn, feeling the wind slapping me in the face. And turning my head away from the boat into the wind, away from them, to face it again. Docking the shoreline, everyone jumping out, little bags in their hands. The women go looking for shells. The men go barbecue. After an hour or two, the sandwiches, potato chips eaten, the soda and beer almost gone, we turn around and head back. We have conquered. And I remember the Coquinas. The little shells, you could find them alive on the beaches north of the pier in Naples. Going to the beach, I would look for a spot to find them. They were all my own. And they burrowed their way into the sand to avoid the light, worming their way away from me. I unearthed a group of Coquinas once, fascinated by the color of their shells, the way they moved before they could hide. I collected them in a jar, and I took them home with me. What did you teach me? What have you taught me to do? Is this it? Is this what it has become? Is this what it has become of us, of you, of me? And I took them home. I added salt water and sand, but I couldn't feed them. I realized soon that they would die. So I let them. I know, moody stuff. And the craziest thing?
Oh, it's okay.
I'm coming from Texas to visit New Orleans for Halloween this past year. We go to a bar, and a couple of people are there, and they're from Naples. I mean, like locals. I start talking to them about Coquinas, the shells in Naples Pier and Tin City and all the other silly things that you think of when you think of the town, and I was just stunned. Because I kept going out and I never saw them again. And I'm like, I even have a shirt that I even created that had Naples Pier on it. But it was very cool to run in and find people from past things in your life at different places in the bullshit. It was absolutely amazing. It totally was.